Hello, it's Brian, the creator and host of the Counter Thought podcast. Is the pandemic over? Only when the Democrat polling says it is. Now, you might be asking, Brian, that seems like a very partisan take. You know what? It does sound like a partisan take, but it's not a partisan take. It is based on facts. And let me walk you through some of those. Based on Democrat logic and the Democratic science throughout the course of this pandemic, a few of these things are true. What did we always hear? We heard, have to wear your mask. We heard, case rates are most important. All the way for a year and a half up until, I believe it was after Delta, when they finally changed their tune and said, oh, we don't need to worry about case rates. We need to worry about hospitalizations and deaths. Well, no crap. Been saying that since 2020. And then after case rates, we focus on hospitalizations. Oh, well, if hospitalization rates are high, then we need to lock down. And then the next is death. If death is high, we need to lock down. We need to do more things to protect the people of America. Now, fast forward to this week. What happened this week? On Monday, all of these states, 11 states in total, started rolling out plans to end mask mandates. Now, don't get too excited because it's not all mask mandates. For some states, it's their indoor and outdoor mask mandate. Yes, states still have an outdoor mask mandate. Are you kidding me? And other states are also rolling back their mask mandates for school, which is laughable because we know, and we've known for a long time now, that schools do not have high rates of transmission. And the fact that children are still having to wear masks, especially little kids who are in the lowest risk age group, is absurd. You might have saw this week that Stacey Abrams, running for Georgia governor, just sunk her political career when she was caught not once, but about in 10 different photos not wearing a mask while around children in a school outside of Atlanta, all masked up. I mean, politics is all about the photo op. That was a crash and burn. So bad that she had to get a new online publicist fired on the spot. But let me get back to this pandemic. Is it really over? Well, if we followed the Democrat science, the science of the left throughout this course of this pandemic, the answer would be no. The answer would be no. And why is that? Omicron, we are a month into Omicron. Omicron is now the third variant. We had Alpha, which started in 2020. Then we had Delta, and now we have Omicron. Well, Omicron's effectively ended the pandemic before the White House or any of these other governors in these blue states could act. It was done for them by Omicron. Because you look at the New York Times tracker, Omicron, hospitalization rates, higher than ever. Deaths, not as high as Delta, but higher than Alpha. So the second highest death rate. Case rates skyrocket. At least twice as many cases as any of the other variants. So if that's the case, then why on earth are 11 states this week rolling back the mask mandate? Lead you to believe, the timing of it all. Because if you get rid of the masks, you are getting rid of the signal. That is what you see when you are walking down the street, when you are in a store, when you are going to school, your place of work, or based on where you live. I'm in Florida, so thank you, Ron DeSantis, for not mandating any kind of masks. And for being a control group to show that, hey, wearing masks, especially the 3-layer or those gaiters or just a little piece of cloth, versus other states who had mandates, shows that there was no difference in death rates or hospitalizations. So if we get rid of the masks like these 11 states are doing, isn't that effectively ending the pandemic? But how can we end the pandemic when the hospitalization rates are so high and the death rates are so high? And why all of a sudden is this being announced by these 11 states a month after the Pfizer CEO already said that a Omicron capable vaccine would be available in March? Well, Omicron is going to be gone in March. Doctors have been saying that since Omicron began in January. Said it'll last about 1 to 2 months. And it's already on a significant downturn over the past 2 weeks, these first 2 weeks of February. So what do we have to worry about March for? And then what else is lurking in the future when it comes to March? The State of the Union address. And that's my theory. My theory, despite what the CDC has said and their recent updated mask guidance, which took them a year and a half to catch up on, they now recommend and say that N95 and KN95 masks are the best masks to reduce transmission of the coronavirus. Well, duh. We've known that for a long, long time. But why didn't you ever recommend it? Why weren't any mask mandates for N95s? Oh, well, there was going to be a shortage. We didn't have enough. I don't believe that for a second. Yes, hospitals, prioritization, right? Working in healthcare, you need those masks. But you're telling me that there couldn't be enough of those produced to supply everyone else in our country? I don't believe that for a minute. So when the CDC recommends that now everyone needs to be wearing N95s and the children KN95s, why then are these states pulling back these mask mandates? It's for another political photo op. That is my theory. The State of the Union is coming in early March. All of these mandates for these 11 states are being lifted between as early as this week to as late as right after the State of the Union address. And this is right along the same lines as what the Biden administration has done throughout his presidency. You think about the July 4th date that he set for 70% or 75% vaccination for adults. He missed that mark by a month. Wanted to have the photo op of freedom with the fireworks going off. Missed it. And then a month later, Afghanistan withdrawal. He wanted that nice photo op on September 11th, saying that he ended the 20-year war. But what a disaster Afghanistan was. And then now we come around to the State of the Union address. And I think the Biden administration has two options. And I would like to say they'd be smart enough to take this first one, but I don't think that's going to happen. They have two options here at the State of the Union for their photo op. They could, one, make it very grand. All these states are pulling back the mask mandates, and then Biden, in all of his glory with the pomp and circumstance, can announce, we ended COVID. I defeated the virus like I said I would in my campaign. And it was because of the measures we took that put us in this position today, which is a lie. That is a lie. Or what's going to happen, and I think this has a high probability of happening, because I just mentioned that Pfizer CEO said that a vaccine is coming out, a booster for Omicron, even though Omicron's basically going to be gone. The second option would be for the Biden administration to say, America, as we saw over the past month, states have been rolling back the mask mandates, and you're welcome. Now you can walk around and breathe the fresh air finally, like they've been doing in Florida and Texas for a year and a half. But now the rest of you are free at last, except Pfizer has a new vaccine available, and it's available right now. So if you would like to walk around with no mask, you're going to need to get that booster shot. And I would not put it past this administration to go that route. I mean, you've seen the disasters that they've done. You've seen, I just demonstrated and recapped the missed political photo opportunities that they've had, but screwed up. So they can either, one, Biden can take in all the glory and say, and he ended COVID. which would be a lie to your face, but thank goodness that we've got here. Or you can take the second option, which is probably going to happen too, like 50-50, that's where I am on this, and say, hey, no masks, but you need to get vaccinated with that other shot coming from Pfizer. But what's really happened? Why the sudden change? It's because polls talk and Democrats listen. We've seen that demonstrated with the defund the police and the rates in crime increasing. That happened last year. Don Lemon on CNN was like, whoa, guys, we need to walk it back a little bit. And ever since then, they've been walking it back. And what has Biden been doing this past week or 2 weeks ago? He was in New York saying that, visiting with the new mayor, saying, yes, we need to get tough on crime. I've never been about not being tough on crime. Too little, too late. Too little, too late. So what happened? The polls have spoken. The people have spoken. Polls were showing that more than 70% of Americans are either tired of or annoyed by the COVID restrictions that are still in place. So the Democrats got their little sheet, their results from their internal polling, and said, holy cow, we got to switch, we got to shift fast. And that's why we're here. Because again, you take away the masks, that's your first line of defense. That's the first line of defense that we've been told since the start of the pandemic that is going to help prevent spread and protect yourself. So if the masks are gone, then the pandemic is over, right? One would be led to believe. So don't be tricked or fooled by the measures that these states are taking. The states are doing one thing while the CDC is still recommending another. And I think the play is that the CDC, along with the administration, are holding on as long as they can to make it to the State of the Union address in March to announce the end of COVID. But don't be fooled. They're doing this because of polling. And I would not put it past them if another variant comes along and it follows the trend of Omicron and is maybe more contagious but less severe, and then they try to implement more mandates on this country.